Our world is forever changing and has had a long history of weird and unusual animals since the first life forms developed on Earth. Since then, nature has had many setbacks, including 5 major mass extinction events, meaning evolution and adaptation has had to start over again multiple times. And due to changes in the landscape and the environment, many animals which were once thriving in the past would find it impossible to live in today's conditions. So here we look at 5 extraordinary extinct creatures that, if they found themselves on Earth today, could not survive. Sit back and enjoy. Dunkleosteus. The Dunkleosteus was a placoderm carnivorous fish of the Devonian period, commonly known as the Age of the Fish. Dunkleosteus lived between 382 and 358 million years ago, and is one of the most well-known prehistoric fish of all time. This giant armoured fish weighed over a ton, was 6 meters in length, with huge gnashing teeth that enabled it to be one of the most ruthless and successful predators of its day. However, that would not be the case now. In fact, the Dunkleosteus would struggle significantly due to changes in the food chain. During the Devonian period, most fish were placoderms, characterised by their thick defensive armour similar to the Dunkleosteus. These types of fish were heavy and not that quick, so a perfect prey for the slow but fierce Dunkleosteus, who were able to penetrate their thick skin with their tremendous bite force. However, the Dunkleosteus' predatory method would be useless today against modern fish and faster amphibians. The natural selection process in modern fish has favoured speed, with both predators and prey being extremely nimble. If a Dunkleosteus came up against a modern-day equivalent, such as a shark, it would be at a significant disadvantage due to its slow speed and lack of flexibility. Furthermore, modern-day predators have a much stronger emphasis on the force at which they close their jaw to create more suction to increase the chances of pulling their prey in, something the Dunkleosteus did not possess. So taking all of these factors into consideration, it's unlikely that despite its size and strength, the Dunkleosteus would be able to survive today, and would most likely starve to death. The Supersaurus. The Supersaurus is a diplosticid, herbivorous dinosaur, which is thought to be the largest of all the dinosaurs, measuring around 35 meters in length and weighing up to 40 tons. Dinosaurs like the Supersaurus, Diplodocus and Brachiosaurus emerged at a time before there were carnivores big enough to hunt them as prey, and as a result, they became the unrivaled kings of the Jurassic. Furthermore, their long necks gave them a greater survival advantage, as they were able to eat from the highest, freshest branches untouched by other smaller creatures. This allowed them to avoid bowing their head to the ground, the most vulnerable part of their body. The Supersaurus managed to thrive for millions of years, until the mass extinction event at the end of the Jurassic, which saw the extinction of them, as well as all the other giant dinosaurs of its kind. No one knows what caused this extinction, although some theorise that it was due to a change in plant life. Since their extinction, land animals have never reached such enormous sizes, and probably never will. This is due to many factors, the most well-known being that today's air content has far too little oxygen to support respiration in these giant animals. Currently, it's around 21% compared to 26% during the time Supersaurus roamed the Earth. However, recently, more and more scientists have been going against this theory, discovering less of a correlation between oxygen levels and animal size, instead arguing that animals like Supersaurus were able to support their giant frames due to air sacs within their body which made them lighter. Despite this theory, it would still be impossible for diplodocid dinosaurs to live today, mainly because of humans who have destroyed a lot of the world's great forests to create farmland to help feed our growing population. It's also very likely that due to their size, Supersaurus would be seen as a threat to mankind and would soon be hunted to extinction. In our current climate, there would be no advantage in being supersized, and if Supersaurus did ever come back to visit, I don't think they would be here for long. Titanoboa. The Titanoboa was the largest genus of snake to have ever lived, and stood as one of the most ferocious predators of its time, following the Cretaceous extinction event around 60 million years ago. We've talked about it before, but many people do not know that it would not stand a chance in today's conditions. The Titanoboa was at its largest 13 meters in length and weighed well over 1,000 kilos, and was specially adapted to blend in with shadows and muddy water, emerging only to hunt. Due to their advanced digestion process and size, they were able to constrict and consume animals far larger than themselves, meaning they only needed to eat once or twice a month. Typically they hunted animals such as crocodiles and mammals, which were far larger than they are today. While today's snakes can still reach some impressive sizes, with the Burmese python averaging up to 7 meters in length, they are dwarfed in comparison to the Titanoboa. Nowadays, with the modern snake's prey being far smaller than when Titanoboa were around, it's very unlikely even the largest snakes will ever reach such gigantic proportions. If Titanoboa were around today, it would find very little to eat, as the large megafauna it is used to eating, like crocodiles, are now an endangered species, so there is no way humans would allow them to be their lunch. Although it would be incredible to see a Titanoboa, they just wouldn't be able to sustain themselves in today's conditions. The woolly mammoth. Whether through books or television, we have all heard about the infamous woolly mammoth, which roamed the earth between 1 million and 12,000 years ago. It lived during the Pleistocene and early Holocene periods, and was driven to extinction by human hunting. However, some scientists argue that the mammoth stayed on Earth in small populations until around 4,000 years ago on Arctic islands such as Wrangel Island between Russia and Alaska, and later became extinct due to inbreeding and lack of resources. Apart from hunting, a significant factor in the woolly mammoth's decline was changes in habitat. During the Pleistocene period, Arctic Siberia was covered in lush grassland, and not the dense forests we see today, and was perfect for large grazing animals such as the woolly mammoth. However, as the Ice Age crept southward, it became harder for grass to grow due to the constant snow, which favoured trees that could break through the snow layer. Although grasslands are seemingly abundant, they are in fact relatively rare, especially in colder climates, and nowhere near large enough to support an animal as big as the woolly mammoth, which would have required around 800 pounds of food a day in order to sustain itself. Over the years, there has been much debate over de-extinction of the mammoth, and Russian scientist Sergei Zimov was the first to come forward with a proposal to reprise the species. But first, a vast Arctic grassland would have to be created which imitated the terrain of the Pleistocene. In 1988, a large amount of land was purchased in northern Siberia that became known as Pleistocene Park. Today, it's a beautiful grassland and is home to many animals. It is also the only place at the moment that could realistically sustain a mammoth population, although bringing these incredible animals back to life is most likely a long way in the future. I'd love to know your thoughts on bringing them back in the first place. After all, we were one of the main reasons why they went extinct, and why millions of animals go extinct every year. In my eyes, we don't deserve to bring these creatures back, only for them to be put in zoos and possibly eaten as a delicacy. Brontotheriidae. Brontotheriidae was a large, ferocious-looking herbivore of the Paleogene period, living between 56 million and 34 million years ago, and is a great example of some of the incredible megafauna that emerged after the Cretaceous extinction event, which killed off all of the dinosaurs except crocodiles and birds. With thick grey skin, a large body and horns, it's easy to think the Brontotheriidae is most closely related to the rhinoceros, but although they are close ancestors of the same order, they are in fact more closely related to horses and tapirs due to greater similarities in their feet and molars. Brontotheriidae emerged at a time before woody vegetation such as pines and grass were widespread, which did not happen until the Oligocene area between 34 and 23 million years ago, when the Earth began to cool at a faster rate. This is important to note because during the time the Brontotheriidae lived, the average surface temperature of the Arctic and Antarctica was between 20 and 25 degrees Celsius, with average temperatures at the equator reaching well above 30 degrees Celsius. Because of these high temperatures in the North and South Pole, lush plants such as avocado, magnolia, and many types of shrubs were abundant. and Brontotheridae, like many other herbivores at the time, had special teeth adapted for this kind of vegetation, characterized by shallow, flat molars, which did not grow too deep into their jaw. However, when the earth began to cool rapidly, plants adapted to the new temperatures, and most of this vegetation was replaced with fibrous root plants, which were able to withstand more extreme conditions. But these plants were too tough for brachydont animals like Brontotheridae, as their teeth were not designed to eat this type of vegetation, and as a result, they were unable to eat and were driven to extinction. Unless this incredible animal returned to Earth with a modified set of teeth, they would still not be able to survive on the woody plants of our modern world. So that's 5 incredible extinct animals that wouldn't be able to survive in today's conditions. It's an incredibly humbling thought to think that these magnificent creatures were walking this very earth. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.